Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel and also welcome to the Golden Coast. So as you all know, at the time of recording, Chapter 7 Season 1 has been out for just over a month. So I thought I'd take a look at it in its current state, see what works, what I think needs changing, and at the end of the video, I'll discuss what I think of the season overall. This is going to be my first step into a new semi-frequent style of content on this channel, which I'm going to be calling Spectives. And they're either going to be looking back at the history of the game, being a retrospective, or looking into the game's current state, seeing what I like, what I don't, and those will be the introspectives. Hey, hopefully you guys like this style of content, because I have tons of ideas for it, and some pretty huge ideas planned for the future. Hey, but with all that out of the way, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with the notification bell on, and let's dive into the Chapter 7 review. Okay, so before we actually talk about the content in the season, I just want to quickly mention one thing the season's kind of struggling with, and that is performance. For some reason, recently, I've been noticing tons of stutters. It seems to affect the PC edition the most, so I'm going to offer an apology if my background footage dips in and out a bit. Hey, but you know what? We're going to cut to the chase. We're just going to dive straight into the actual chapter review. Let's take a look at the most important part of a new chapter, the Lootpool. And can I just say, oh my god, the loot pool in this chapter is amazing. There is not a single weapon that feels bad. I mean, usually in a loot pool, there's that one weapon, you know, no one really picks up. They're like, I don't really want this. I mean, like, my mind goes to something like, I don't know, the drum shotgun from Chapter 6 or the Enforcer AR from Chapter 5, which actually got a major glow up this season, and I'm going to talk about it just in a minute. But no, honestly, every single weapon in this loot pool just feels absolutely fantastic. Yeah, sure, you've got some that are definitely better than others. Yeah, there's definitely some that are way at the top of the list compared to other ones, but no, honestly, every single weapon in this loot pool at the moment feels worth picking up. Okay, so this loot pool, I want to start off talking about the crown jewel of this season, and that is the Arc Zapper Gun. Do you want to know what this weapon feels like? It feels like the weapon that people, you know, they call it really overpowered in the first week, but then, you know, they figure it out and it just becomes kind of useless. But the thing is about this weapon, it just hasn't. It is so ridiculously overpowered. It completely overwhelms the enemy. I mean, just look at this gameplay in the background. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, yeah, it doesn't do too much damage, but seriously, you cannot counter this thing. It has insane range. This thing has a range of over 50 meters and it doesn't have any damage drop off. I'm not even joking. This weapon shreds you in zero build. There's literally nothing you can do. I mean, simply put, if you do not have the jetpack this season, you're just not going to win. You're going to die. It's the most overpowered weapon in this entire season and people are completely sleeping on it. It's such a good gun. But we're going to move on at some point, so we're going to talk about the next weapon on the loot pool, which is the Deadeye Assault Rifle. Now listen, I'm going to put this out here. I think Fortnite is at its best when there's no, like, red dot ARs. I think they are really bad for the game. I really don't think they are any good. I mean, Chapter 6 Season 3, it had no red dot ARs. I absolutely loved it. 4G Season 7 right now, it doesn't have a single red dot AR, and it feels so much better for it. I think this game is just in such a healthier state when it doesn't have a red dot AR. It just makes every single other AR in the game not worth it. Now, I know there's going to be one person in the comments who goes like, well, actually, the scoped AR does have a red dot. The difference between that and modern day red dot ARs is that none of these weapons have bloom. They are completely dead on accurate, and I just think it makes every single gunplay feel so much worse. I mean, like, yeah, absolutely no shade to the actual weapon itself. And the unfortunate thing about this AR being so good is it just makes the Enforcer AR useless. I gotta say, I feel so bad for this thing. It isn't a terrible AR by any means, but it just gets outclassed in every single season it's in. I mean, Chapter 5 Season 1, it had to go against the Prime Striker AR. Chapter 5 Season 3, I mean, come on, man, you weren't running an AR that season. You were running Nitro Fist, cars, basically everyone was flying around. It just gets so outclassed by every single weapon in a loot pool. But listen, I ain't even gonna lie, the Enforcer feels really good. It does insane damage. I think it does like a punch. It has a 56 headshot in common and a 70 headshot in legendary. This weapon can absolutely annihilate somebody if you aim well enough. It is a really good AR. It just gets outshone by the Deadeye, and I think that's a real shame. Alright, and I know I've been yapping about these three weapons for quite a while, so I'm just gonna kind of blast through the next few, you know, we're just gonna talk about them on kind of like a quick fire basis. They brought back the Chapter 5 TAC AR, which I thought would be a terrible idea, but you know what? I've been pleasantly surprised. It's a really nice and consistent weapon, and I've been running it in my SMG slot when I can't find a Hollow Rush SMG. which, you know, while we're talking about it, really nice SMG. It's identical to the red eye SMG. I have no idea why they didn't just add the red eye SMG from Reload. I love that weapon. This one just has a slightly different scope in it. I don't really get it. I think it's pretty cool though. And of course in this loot pool, you have a few returning weapons like the Sovereign Shotgun and the dual micro SMGs from Chapter 5 Season 4. I mean, they're both pretty mediocre. I don't mind if I get stuck with them, but I'm going to drop them for literally anything else. At the beginning of the season, they added 2 brand new shotguns, being the Iron Pump and the Hammer Pumps. I actually think these shotguns are like perfectly balanced for each other. None of them feel stronger than the other one. No, I will say, the Hammer Pump, it feels super snappy. The sound design on some of these weapons is absolutely amazing. I mean, seriously, listen to how snappy the pump feels. And just generally, all of the weapons in this loot pool, they sound really good. The sound design this chapter is incredible. Honestly, this is one of my big things for Fortnite. I really like it when the sounds of a gun feel really snappy, they feel really clean. I mean, yeah, I can even go all the way back to the original pump. That is one of the best sounding weapons of all time, and I think these guns have done a really good job at it. And of course, I did just mention it, the sniper this season, the Vengeful Sniper, recently got a pretty substantial buff. I actually really like it. It kind of reminds me of the Reaper Sniper Rifle, and that's how I've been using it. I've been using it close up. It is really good, and I've actually been double pumping these, and it's actually been working out really well for me. It's actually a really good method, especially with these changes to ADSing this season, where you can actually jump and aim at the same time. This weapon has become unstoppable as a double pump combo. Hey, but you know what? I think that's enough talking about the loot pool. I will be ranking these weapons for next week's video, so keep an eye out for that. Remember, my opinion on these weapons will probably change, and just because I've glazed the hell out of a weapon while I was talking about it, doesn't necessarily mean I think it's good. So just keep that in mind. Alrighty then, so we're just going to move on to the loot pool section in this video. We're going to talk about some more general stuff they changed within this chapter, and we're going to start that off with bots. Weirdly enough, I'm pretty sure they've buffed bots this chapter. They've given them so much more juice. I don't know what they've done. Now, personally, I didn't really get any footage of this happening to me, but it has happened to me while I was playing casually, and I like it a lot. I think it's a good change. Honestly, it's caught me off guard a couple times. I shoot like somebody I think's a bot, and I see him like crank 90s, and then the armor boss, and I'm like, what's going on? Honestly, it's an absolute 10 out of 10 change. It's been a long time coming, and I think you need to make them even harder. I'm not being challenged by these bots still. But no, this is a step in the right direction, and I actually really like it. Alright, and there was actually a huge change for the new season, and just Fortnite as a whole. And that is the fact that storms can now be fully changeable. They can literally be any shape in the world. I mean, they kind of started hyping it up in the Simpsons season. They changed it to the number 7, obviously to hype up Chapter 7. But honestly, I have a massive issue with this, and that's the fact that they're just not doing enough. I thought it would change up stuff way more than it actually has. Epic Games have been making a really bizarre decision where they make all these, you know, like interesting, cool, having the special storms being like, I don't know, like a 1% chance. I don't get that. I think, honestly, it's a really, really cool feature. It just needs to be given way more light of day because it can really change up how the game feels. They should be using it to do way more than they're using it to do now. And it's just a real shame. That's all I can really say about it. Alright, and just quickly, we are going to cover the new boss feature, which is called Play as a Boss. Okay, so you know how I was talking about the arc lightning gun earlier, saying like, oh, it kind of feels like the weapon that people kind of figure out after a week, and then it just becomes absolutely underpowered? This is that weapon. It felt so overpowered in the first week, but then they hit it with so many nerfs, it is 100% useless at this point. I mean, literally right now, all it does is it marks you on the map, and it barely gives you any buffs, and it's just not worth it, honestly. I truly think it is just an item that is absolutely not worth it. Literally, I just don't have any footage of it to put behind this commentary right now because I didn't even think to pick it up, which just, in my opinion, shows how ass it is. And obviously, it's designed from the ground up to replace medallions after the travesty that was Chapter 6 Season 4 and all the overpowered, like, flying medallions. Honestly, I really liked how it had to take up a slot in your hotbar. I think that was a really smart way of doing it. But the thing about not dropping it really just rubs me wrong. I think you should be able to drop it, but it gets destroyed upon dropping it. That just kind of makes sense. I think that is a better way to approach it. I mean, on top of that, it also replaces your skin with, you know, with just some random boss avatar, which is a real shame because, like, you've gone into the item shop, right? you've paid money to wear these skins. The only point of these skins is to wear them. And then this item, that it just takes it away from you. I've just grinded super hard for these battle pass skins. Why would I want to get somebody else's skin on top of it? So yeah, no, honestly, it is a good concept for an item, but it's just inherently flawed, and I just don't think it works. I'm sorry. Obviously, you have the main movement item of this season, which is the paraglider. And honestly, I think it's a fantastic mobility item. It's one of the most balanced we have had in, I don't know, like seasons. You have the incredibly satisfying charge up, which is absolutely incredible on both ends. It feels really good charging it up, and then it also gives an opponent actual time to shoot you before you take off. You have, of course, the actual movement of the device. It feels really nice. It feels really fluid. It takes a little bit of time to master. You got to figure it out first, otherwise you're just going to waste it. You're just going to go into the air and dive bomb. But once you figure out how to stay in the air, it is a game changer. Honestly, I think these could fully replace shockwaves, and you know what? I wouldn't be upset if shockwaves got permanently replaced with the paraglider. It is such a balanced movement item. I cannot stress that enough. And of course, if we're going to keep talking about movement, we can't go without mentioning air balloons. Now, these were kind of like a replacement for the train. The train kind of got shafted towards the end of chapter 6, and to be honest, I can see why they got rid of the train. It was just feeling a tiny bit stale. They should have spiced it up a bit. I think the train, as it was in Lawless, was perfect. They shouldn't have changed it from Lawless. They should have kept the heist mechanics from Lawless, just specifically on the train. But no, it came time to remove the train, and they went, you know what? We still want something like this on the island. We will replace it with hot air balloons. Now, these are really interesting because there's so much you can do with these hot air balloons. You can land on them from the bus. You can just sit on the top. Of course, inside the hot air balloons, there are 2 mini train chests. They give you, you know, pretty decent loot. You always seem to get a sniper from them, which is really good for where you are, because the balloons, they are just a perfect vantage point for sniper rifles. You can absolutely shred somebody from on top of one of these things, and they cannot shoot you down because the balloon has like, what, 1500 hell? Of course, the balloons, they circle around the map. They land at one of these docking stations. It slows down a little bit. The docking stations have clocks telling you when the balloon's actually going to be there, which is actually really helpful to the average player because they can look at it and go, is it worth it staying around? The balloon docking stations are actually really packed full of loot, so while your balloon has stopped at one of these stations, you can just hop in, loot the place from top to bottom. You'll come out with a full loadout, and there's tons of shield barrels all around, so you will come out with at least 50 shield. Everything about these balloons is really well done, and I actually really like them. But of course, we need to talk about the most important part of the new season. A whole new map. With the conclusion of the Simpsons season and Chapter 6 as a whole, the 0-hour live event concluded with us being sent to a brand new island, which doesn't actually have a name. And honestly, that stinks because, you know, Chapter 6 had its name right out of the gate, being Onishima. And it just kind of allows you to connect more with the island like a living, breathing thing. But it is also just such a minor gripe. It absolutely does not bring down such a fantastic map. Yeah, I think this map is pretty good. I mean, you have some of the best POI diversity the game has had in years. I mean, every single location feels unique. It feels different. It's absolutely fantastic. Honestly, a huge problem that Chapter 5 and 6 had, at least for the first season, a lot of the locations kind of felt a little bit samey. I mean, if you look at Chapter 5, you had Ritzy Riviera and Snooty Steps. You know, they were basically identical. And Onishima had almost 4 separate temple points of interest, and they all looked the same. Now, this season does a fantastic job at making sure every single location has something new and unique inside of it, basically avoiding all of these issues my earlier examples might have caused. I mean, there's just so much going on. You have Bumpy Bay, a fantastic POI, obviously based off San Francisco. I mean, just the verticality of this location and the trams being an amazing cover if you get caught off guard just make this place a top tier location. You have Wonkyland, which, may I add, is one of my favorite drop spots this season, you know, maybe sharing a spot with another location I'll mention very soon. And it's just full of stunning iconography, looks completely different from anything else on the map, and you know what, across Fortnite history. I think the closest we've gotten to a theme park location like this before was all the way back in Chapter 3, you know, with like the Rave Cave location. I honestly can't believe something like this hasn't been done before. What a fantastic location. I mean, of course you have Inner Loop Labs, or should I say Lethal Labs, because yes, we're having huge mid-season updates again, which is pretty cool. And honestly, this location is the tilted towers of this map. It is absolutely insane. You can go literally at any point of the game, and there is always some ridiculous crap going on. It is one of the most chaotic locations of all time. You cannot stand still in this location. You will just get sniped or shot, or like, it is absolutely insane. And it is one of the best POIs the game has ever made. I also just want to mention, because honestly, it goes without mentioning a lot of the time, the mini locations dotted around this map have been absolutely incredible for the last 2 chapters. Honestly, in recent times, Epic Games have locked in with these locations, especially after the absolute mess that was chapter 4 and 5's location spreading. You would have so many like just empty fields, you would have so much stuff just not there. Chapter 2 was absolutely fantastic for these locations. I mean, how many of you remember Fort Crumpet, the crash plane in chapter 2? I mean, you have some returning ones like Crackshot's Cabin, which got a Harry Potter makeover. Now, listen, I don't really like Harry Potter. It's not one of my favorite franchises, but it's a pretty cozy cabin. I'll give it that much. But seriously, there are so many cool details dotted around the map at the moment. Obviously, I'm going to be showing them all on my screen right now, including a lot of smaller features that some players might miss in a glance. Like, I mean, did you even notice the loot llama made out of flowers on the hill behind the Battlewood Boulevard Theatre? But no, honestly, the little landmarks in this season have been absolutely fantastic. There's so many little small places on the map, so many places you drop. And of course, dotted around the map as well, these mini landmarks, you have the Collider. It's a really cool circle that surrounds the entire map. You can actually go into these tunnels, and if you go into these tunnels, you can actually explore them, go to the very end, and it will literally take you from one station to another. And I think it's a really cool way to integrate landmarks, and it's a really cool feature to just have on the map. And that's what makes a good Fortnite map. Of course, everybody remembers the POIs, but if you want to know how important landmarks are to the game, like, listen, take chapter 1 for example. Like, you think of the chapter 1 map, you think of places like the giant chair over near Flush Factory. You think of the hill near Pleasant Park with the ring of orange trees, and you have all the shopping trolleys and ATKs set around it. Little landmarks like those are absolutely critical to the game. And honestly, I am so glad Epic Games is locking back in with them. It just makes the game feel more cozy, and I'm a big fan of it. But listen, we're just gonna get back on track. I think a good point of interest can be boiled down to just a few words, I mean, take Wonkyland, the theme park location, Classified Canyon, it's Area 51, Battlewood Boulevard. Oh my god, that's a place from GTA 5. I know my American audience, I was joking, I know it's LA. No, but on a more serious note, these are some of the freshest and best feeling locations the game has had in years. There's only a few on the map that feel, you know, a little bit mid, being 4 Fields and Latte Landing. Everywhere else feels fantastic to land at, and I found myself dropping at different spots every single match. This, however, wasn't always by choice, because with the launch of Chapter 7, a new feature was added to the game, stirring up a lot of controversy within the community, and they still, to this day, seem divided on whether it was a good idea or not. And of course, I'm talking about surfing. Many of you watching this video know, at the beginning of this chapter, a new mechanic that would temporarily replace the battle bus in its entirety would be introduced to the game, the new storm surfing mechanic. Now listen, I might get slandered down in the comments for this one, but I think this was really, really cool. Of course, it replaced the battle bus that was shot down by the Dark Voyager in the cinematic, which I think was really cool. I don't know, I think the last time they did something like this was with the introduction of Zero Build all the way back in Chapter 3. Honestly, I really like it when the in-game story affects actual gameplay, and I really hope we see it more often. It was a fun and interesting way to start off the chapter, and it also got a lot of people on the game too. It was an incredible hook for the first week of the season, and listen, as controversial as it was, people really started to hate it after the first couple days. It was a necessary evil to help the other mods flourish as well, because of course, with the battle bus being shut down, all of the mods like OG and Blitz and Reloads, they all went down as well. It just gave them time to breathe before they launched with their own huge updates. I mean, especially OG, that has been overshadowed by a season launch for the past 4 seasons, and it just ruined the player count. I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna play season 3 of Fortnite, famously one of the most mid seasons of all time, or you're gonna play Super, you're gonna play season 2 of Fortnite, or you're gonna play Lawless. It just makes sense to like delay it by a couple of weeks. It keeps the player count steady, and it just lets everything go at its own pace. I mean, Blitz and Reload, they have both had incredible updates, and because of the staggered release date, people have actually had time to experience all of them and not have to choose, oh, which one am I gonna play today? Which one am I gonna forget about? But no, because they were separated apart a few days, they have a really healthy player count at the moment, especially OG. I mean, that mod was struggling through season 6. You know, it was in its worst spot ever. The developers were neglecting it. The game just felt kind of awful to play. It looked awful. It had like 40,000 players on average. It had 60,000 in its peaks. But now, OG season 7, it is in one of the best states the mod has been in months. And it stays at a healthy 100,000 players with regular peaks to 150,000. This would not have been possible if they all just got dumped out on the same day. Nobody would have played it if it released exactly at the same time as the new chapter. And it is just an absolutely fantastic decision. I hope they keep doing it and just let them have their own time to breathe. Now listen, I'm sorry, I kind of got a bit off track there. We're going to go back onto storm surfing now. And you know what? I'm going to close my thoughts up on it. Whether this feature gets carried on to the next season or if it gets removed, I don't really know. They could get rid of it. You know, they could just say, oh, that was only for season 1 because it kind of had a summer theme. In its current state, I'm going to say, with the extended height and surfing speed, you know, allowing for more distance, it's a really enjoyable and welcome shake-up to the early game. Incredibly needed, feels fun and interesting, and you know what? I'm happy to see it stay, even if it's only for this chapter. Okay, now, yeah, I'm going to touch this very quickly. I think the theming of the season is kind of a little bit of a mess. It's a summer season that dropped right in the middle of winter. It has a Winterfest event. I'm going to be fully honest, it feels really weird, like dropping into the map on Christmas Day, and you're surfing onto the island on a big wave, and there's like tons of summer music playing. And then, of course, you've got another complication to this mess, which is the fact that the season also has a secondary theme of the last reality. Of course, the Dark Voyager is currently sitting in his ship, hanging above the island. It really just does feel like there's 3 different themes going on right now. I just think they need to tone it down a little bit. They need to tone one of the 3 down a little bit. I 100% think they were releasing this season to compete with GTA 6, and I bet they are so angry that it got delayed by a year. They have to be so upset, and I can't even imagine what's going on in Epic Games HQ. But you know what? The season itself, it's got a pretty strong identity. Even if it's at the wrong time of the year, it is definitely a summer season, and it feels really good. I really like it. But there's one last thing I'd like to talk about. We've been talking about tons of new stuff they've added to the game. This chapter brought back something incredible. It brought back something I never thought would come back to Fortnite ever again. We're talking about the lore. Dude, the lore in this season is incredible. It feels so weird to just see like straight up characters from the past return. I mean, my main skin is the scientist. Now, I'm not using him in this video, but I probably have 1,500 hours with him on. And seeing him in the Story So Far trailer, which can I just say is one of the best trailers Fortnite has ever put out, seeing him there again made me freak out so hard. It is so insane seeing the last reality hanging above the island again. And I am, for the first time in years, literally, I had given up hope. I'm excited for what comes next in the storyline. I mean, listen, at time of recording, this might actually change before the video comes out. All we really have is like, I don't know, 2 audio logs, but it is still so cool, and I am still so excited. And it's a shame I can't talk about this because literally nothing has happened yet, but I really want to talk about it, and I'm really excited to talk about it, you know? And I am so glad that the story is making a comeback. That's what makes this game the game it is. Fortnite would have died off in Chapter 2 if it didn't have a story. It's what keeps people around. It's what keeps people invested. I mean, I mentioned it in my live event ranking video. One of the best events of all time was a story event, which of course was the Chapter 2 flip event. I mean, you had almost 4 years of story build-up just to get to that one point, that one single shot, and the music swells up, and it's absolutely incredible. And seriously, the game has not been at a higher point in the lore since, and I hope we can get to that point again. And this is a personal message to Epic Games. Don't mess this up. You have such a beloved cast of characters. You have the 7, you have the Imagined Order, you have the Last Reality. Don't mess this up. It is so easy to make a compelling story with these characters, which is a big issue I had with the Chapter 5 story. You introduce characters that we didn't have enough time to start to care about. I mean, we didn't even hear one of the 7 speak until Season 8. And we didn't even see one of them in a cinematic until Chapter 2, Season 6. These characters have been built up over years and years and years of storytelling and love and care. And I don't want this to just be jangling keys in front of our faces. I don't want this just to be the same kind of story we've had for the past 2 years, but with the characters we know. I want this to be a return to form. And you know what? I'm going to hold my breath. Hopefully it's pulled off well and they actually succeed in this. You know what? Screw it. I have high hopes. I have incredibly high hopes. Listen, like I said, there's not much you can actually say about the story right now because it hasn't actually gotten going yet. We've got the start of it. Listen, I just hope they pull it off well. I hope they execute it well, and that's all I can do. And I cannot wait to see where it's going. Alright then, let's wrap up this long video with, you know, my final thoughts on the season. It's pretty good so far. Bye-bye. No, I'm joking. No, honestly, Chapter 7 right now is in a really good state. It's not groundbreaking by any means. I definitely think Chapter 6 Season 1 had more going on. It had more content, more fun stuff, but it is in a pretty good state. I'm enjoying it. I think it has one of the most balanced movement items of all time, being the paraglider. I think that's an absolutely incredible piece of movement. It just feels absolutely perfect, especially once you get the hang of it. It's just simply one of the best movement items in the game. I think it should stay as a core gameplay item. Could definitely replace shockwaves. Just, you know, just get rid of shockwaves forever. Just keep jetpacks in, you know? But honestly, yeah, no, this island just feels absolutely incredible. And the level design on the map just feels absolutely incredible. Everything feels so fluid. The map just kind of comes together. Everything just feels absolutely fantastic. You've got some of the best points of interest of all time, and then you have some of the most mediocre. But the important thing is that there aren't any bad ones. There's not a single bad point of interest on this map. The closest you can get to a bad POI on this map is Sus Studios, and even then, that's not too bad of a POI. You got like tons of cool little details all around the map, like the DeLoreans you can actually find around the map. I forgot to mention those. That's really cool. You go back in time, and you can actually get some loot from Chapter 1, which is such a cool detail. I'm not even gonna lie. They didn't have to do all of this for an item shop collab, but they did, and it's absolutely fantastic. I'm a big fan of Back to the Future, and it just makes me smile every single time I do it. And honestly, that's just kind of how this new chapter feels. It's got a nice sense of polish. OG feels absolutely fantastic. It's in its best state. Blitz feels absolutely fantastic, especially when you play something like Squads. And the new Lootpool update to Reload is absolutely incredible. You know, with like the Morphite weapons, the basically Evil Chrome weapons they update, the more you shoot people. They go really well with the Reload gameplay loop, especially, you know, now, like if you die pretty far in the game, you haven't lost everything. You just pick up an Evil Chrome shotgun, and if you play well enough, you can get back to where you were. It really suits how the game flows, and I'm surprised they haven't done anything like it before. So overall, Chapter 7 so far has been an absolute joy to play. Even if the Winterfest was a little bit mid, I didn't even bother talking about it because I just don't care about it. I'm sorry, I didn't care about it this year. It was mid as hell. But other than that little hiccup, I think this is one of the best chapters we have had in years. Everything just feels so fresh. It just feels so amazing. Some of it needs updating, some of it needs adjusting, but overall, it is just an incredibly well-balanced season, and you can tell they have taken time to just make everything feel really good, really fair, really equal, and really balanced. And that's all you can want in a game. If everything feels perfectly balanced, everything will feel fair. It is just generally really good. But honestly, that's all I have to say about Chapter 7 so far. We've only had a month of it. It can probably change. It almost certainly will change by the time we get to the end of the year. But for now, it feels really, really fun. It feels really, really fresh, and I am loving it so far. And talking about loving it, if you love this video, like I said at the beginning, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really means the world to me. To make sure to turn on the notification bell so you actually get told when my videos come out. You can head on over and watch some of my other videos. I usually rank Fortnite content, but if you guys like this, I'll make more videos like it. You know, leave comments down below. Let me know if you like it, if you don't like it, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, all you really have to do is take care of yourself and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye!